Right. Good morning, good evening, whichever the world, part of the world you are from. Um, and I welcome you all for the session on how the conversational assistants or the chatbots are being changed with GPT coming into the technology space. So I'm super excited to present what we from Purple State thought the journey of GPT is going to be. I'm sure, we will make it more informative and insightful for every one of you. So at the end of the day, the 1 hour whatever you spend here will be like totally help you to decide on what you can do on the next steps of GPT. Okay. So yeah, so quick introduction where we are from. So we are from iLink Systems. So iLink has uh, different companies like doing different services under its umbrella, and Purposelate concentrates on CAI, conversational AI, and we have started in 2017. So instantly, iLink Digital has been consecutively winning prize from Microsoft partnership, and this is the second year on the Microsoft BA tool. Okay, so move on. Bit of background of what we do in Purple Slate. We are a conversational AI startup, and uh, we believe the how smart conversations uh, the computer systems can have with the human will change the way how they interact with the computers. So it is always a challenge, which is thrown to the human computer interface. Actually, we started with green screens, and then we moved to Windows, and there was UI, there is mobile, and we strongly believe the next wave of actually, which is already happening, the next wave of interface will be human language and the voice actually. So that is where we focus, purpose state focus, and then we try to solve interesting business problems using conversational AI. A quick introduction about myself. I am Magesh Mahadevan, one of the co-founder for Purple Slate. Actually, Purple Slate started in 2017. So until 2017, I have been in working with multiple banks like Barclays, Standard Chartered, Bank of New York Mellon. So I was primarily focusing on architecture and the technology leadership role. So it could be technical delivery or like digital transformation. So that is what my role had been. So today, as we stand, I have close to 29 years of experience, uh, and been always part of technology actually. So I really enjoy. What makes me more happy is what are the code what you write to see it is being used by uh, thousands or millions of people across the globe, and that is what makes my job exciting, and that is what I enjoy doing it actually. And the technology landscape has been changing every day. So I spend a lot of time exploring what is happening latest in the industry, and then how do we apply some of those technologies to the uh, business to see to bring success to the customer. So that is where that is a bit of background about me. All right, so before we get started, I want to clarify some of these terms actually. We are going to talk about more about these terms today. So I thought it is better for everyone to sync up ourselves actually in these terms, so that if you are familiar, well and good, and if you are not familiar, no issues. I mean, this can be an opportunity for the first time you're hearing it. That's also fine. Or you might have heard and then you might have a different understanding than what we have. So it's an opportunity for us to just validate and then sync up ourselves on all these terms actually. So artificial intelligence. Okay, so this is anything where you write a computer system to mimic a human intelligence. So it could be as simple as a decision tree. So you don't need fancy algorithms. You don't need a large data set. Anything which tries to mimic human behavior, human intelligence. So whatever which can replace the human intelligence with its own automated system, that is artificial intelligence actually. Okay. So machine learning is the next term which you will hear often. And machine learning contains two things basically. There are a set of algorithms and there are a set of models. So these models are statistical models. So these both combined together, this helps the computer systems to learn itself without programming, using any programming language. So that is what we call it as machine learning. So for example, we call uh, a ball, ball is circle, and then we call uh, sun is like a ball. Okay, then it is an inferring sun is a circle. So that's basically like what machine learning is all about. So today with the various algorithms and then statistical models we have, so the systems are like a lot more powerful, and it is able to uh, make these models work in a real life actually. That's what makes machine learning like a lot more successful today. And we are going to talk more about natural language processing. So this is the field of AI where the human language or the linguistics meets the computer system. So we have a set of algorithms and then rules, and then we have a linguistic model where there is a certain set of rules of how languages are written and what is the word and how a sentence is formed. So how do we marry these together to make sense of the computer understands what the natural language is and then computer responds in a language. So there is this field has two major subdivision. One is natural language understanding, another one is natural language generation. So we are going to focus more on the generative part today, but having said that, we will also talk about the understanding part. Then there's a term which you frequently hear, supervised and unsupervised learning. So basically, and there are you might have seen supervised learning has regression, and then there is classification. So there are different methods in which supervised learning works, and there is unsupervised learning where it uses deep learning as well as some recurrent networks. So basically, supervised learning, you know what is the input and you know what is the output, and then you label the output as part of the input actually. So wherein in unsupervised learning, you don't know what you're getting into. Basically, you don't have a labeled data, and mostly they're unstructured data, and the system tries to learn from the unstructured data. Okay. So large language model. This is a new term which has been, rounding in the technology world after the GPT came. So this is basically these are the models. Uh, which is basically a unsupervised learning model where you have a huge set of data and unlabeled data. Okay, and it is not just a huge set of data; it is also having huge set of parameters actually. So Microsoft is coming up with the Arca, the next um, Gen AI, model. So that has 13 billion parameter actually. So these parameters helps you to increase the accuracy of the prediction and the generation actually. So we will go through all these. So I'm going to start with the NLP, natural language processing, how it has progressed over the last, uh, the decades actually, last 4 or 5 decades. The reason, why it is important that we spend a lot of time here, it is basically like we are making a foundation of understanding what is generative AI, because like understanding what is generative AI will help us to uh, figure out where we can use it effectively. Because today world, it is not about the technology, it is about like how we can use the technology to solve the problem. So um, the NLP progression, where it is started and then how it has moved over the period of time, that will give a very good idea where we are today with NLP and how it will move forward. And what are the advantages what we have today than yesterday, and why we have to invest in the NLP, which is today. So those are all the things we will see in the next few slides. All right, so this is how it started, like in 1950s or 1940s, when NLP toolkit came into the picture, and it is all started with the text analytics section. So, for example, if there is a text, will it be raining tomorrow also in Los Angeles? Okay. So what happens is the entire text is taken, and then it goes through a series of text analytics. So the idea was to see how do we use some of the um, language rules and then the root words, or we call it as the base words, to find the meaning of something. Okay, so for example, the user is typing, will it be raining tomorrow also in Los Angeles? So it goes through the set of process. So first it will be tokenized. So tokenized is breaking this word into, the sentence into small words, the individual words. And then we remove the stop words. So stop words will be something like it, be, in also, which is like very common, and they don't make a lot of difference in the identifying the context of it actually. Then we do the stemming and lemmatization. So stemming and lemmatization is basically like we try to find the root word, and that is where you find rain tomorrow and LA. Now we try to find out of these words what are of which one of them are we can label it properly, and that is where like your entity recognition comes. So entity recognition would be like tomorrow is the date, and LA is a city, and rain there's nothing to label actually. So based on this, the classification could be the intent is knowing weather. So someone is trying to know the weather. So where they want to see the weather, they want to see it in LA, and when they want to see, they want to see it for tomorrow. So basically, the combination of your intent and the entity tells you the meaning of what they try to do. Okay, so this is how it started in 1950, 1960. Obviously, it did not succeed as expected. It is supposed to be uh, in the NLU world actually. So the major reason it did not succeed is also because the NLU lacked the relationship. So for example, right, there's a example of what I have given here, which is universally used when you talk about ontology. So beer is a mammal and polar bear is a bear. So these two are, for example, these are two statements we are making. But with whatever you have here, with the NLU understanding, like the tokenization, stop word, all those things, you will not be able to infer polar bear is a mammal. Okay, so that is where there are like a lot of expert systems that are being developed in 1950s and 60s. So this expert system, what it does is like it tries to create taxonomy and ontologies, which helps you to establish relationship between the words. So what it means is like, it helps you to find the meaning of word a lot more closer actually. So, but again, like, it is still not the expected one. So that is the time the recurrent neural network happened, which is using n-gram approach. So n-gram approach is basically like, you try to predict the next word based on the last n minus 1 words. Okay, so this is using what do we call it as um, the neural network, recurrent neural network, and also like LSTM is like long-term short memory loss. Actually, this basically again it helps you to forget the results so that like it could be applied again actually. So for example, right, if the input is the weather is good in LA today, okay, the output could be weather is good in LA and it may get rain today. So this is basically like, this is inferred that when someone is saying weather is good, it may also mean that it may rain. It is inferred based on probably like, the previous set of data, but it uses the previous set of words to derive it may get rain today. Okay, so this is what used in many of the auto suggestion, auto completion, auto correction. So this was started, but again, like this was more focused on energy and not on the NLU. Okay. So the problem with the previous one, right? For example, like so when we say like weather is good in LA, and weather and sunny, it may not know that it is related. Weather is related to sunny, and if somebody says LA is sunny, then they may not know what is the whether the weather is good or not. That they may not know actually. So that is where like the word embedding came actually. So in the word embedding, you basically like vectorize the words actually. So you associate, you give a value to word based on the characteristics. So for example, based on this, right, king and queen and man and woman. I mean, assume that you have these 4 words in your sentence. It is likely that king and queen will have value, vector value, which is like very similar, wherein the vector value for man and woman will be like a lot more different. This is achieved by vectorization, and this is a major breakthrough in the world of NLP, because like till the time, the word embedding, I mean, like we were always like the text was always analyzed based on its own value, but here like the vectorization helps you to do the embedding better actually. So this helps you to get the similar words and then the meaning of the words like a lot more obvious actually. Okay. But there are still challenge, mainly because like, when it says like king and queen are similar and man and women are similar, it still could not infer like, the queen probably possesses the same power as king. And if it is not women. So what happened is like, the word to wake came into the picture, where it helps you to group the words together actually. So, and this is where it helps you to do a strong estimation of the word's meaning. So what will happen is like it will find the vector values of king, queen, and then it will also uses the vector value of man, woman to validate the similarity matching actually. To so here, like king minus man plus women equal to queen is basically like the vector value for a king and queen will be like almost similar actually. So till this time, the world of even with embeddings and other things, it was always like the left to right actually. So you always take the text and then you process from the left to right actually. So transformers came into the picture, and transformers took the NLP by a leap actually. The improvement and the efficiency has been really like beyond the comprehension actually. So uh, here like the encoding and decoding started. So encoder basically like tries to come up with values based on the different characteristics as well as the context. Excuse me, sorry. So this input passed to the encoders, then passed back to decoder, where it goes through the RNN process, the recurrent network process. I mean, like neural network process. Then the output came actually like so the output is decoded based on what it has gone through actually. See, while a traditional embedding model reads from left to right, the transformer basically like looks at the entire data into one. So it called it as bidirectional because like it takes the data, everything together. So a simple example is like, now let us take this scenario. The woman went to a store and bought dash dash of shoes. Okay. So pre-transformers, right? The world embedding normally like, it fills that place with the chocolate or a grocery because like it will say the women went to a store and bought grocery. It completely ignores what happens on the off shoes. Okay. Wherein like with transformer, this will be like mostly be filled with a pair. Why it is filled with a pair? Because it understands the entire word and then it tries to find the right match for the entire word. So this is where like the encoders and decoders, with the help of you know the large data, what is trained, transformer has taken a leap in natural language processing. So generation of content has become like a lot more accurate and then a lot more faster. So that is where like the second field which has come, which is basically that generative pre-trained model. So for one of the example for transformers is BERT actually. It's called bidirectional encoding decoding the request transformation, and this is basically like the next one which has come in is GPT, generative pre-trained transformers. So the core of GPT is basically a large language model, and which is based on a foundation model. So the GPT, right, basically has one major component, which is basically the foundation model. So this foundation model can accept any form of data as input. So it could be large text, or it could be a group of images, or it could be a speech data, or it could be a structured data. So whatever it is, it goes through the training, and then the output could be like what are the things you want. Like it could be a simple question answering, it could be a sentiment analysis, like so what you want to classify and then what you want to do with the adaptation is completely based on what tuning you want to use. Okay. And even the training, right? The training is done with what do we call it as is a huge data set. It is terabytes of data, so that the accuracy and the performance has been a lot more better. That's mainly because, like, whatever you type, it is already trained and the data is already there actually. So that is exactly like why this was like a lot more faster and then a lot more scalable actually. Yeah. So what is generative AI? So the GPT as a model helps you to generate new content. So what is done? I mean, like, the algorithm, something like, the chat GPT. It basically like uses this large language model, and it has large data which is like trained, which is from the social media, or it could be from the different websites. So using that actually, like, this is trained. So for example, let us ask a question like, what is generative AI? Basically, this is what the response what you get from ChatGPT. So this is not any different from what we have discussed so far, actually. Yeah. So now we should have a like, very good idea about what is generative AI. I mean, like, how the NLP world started, and then, like, where we are today. So today, like, we are able to generate new content. It could be like of text, or it could be of images, or whatever it is, or videos, or TikToks. Everything is possible through generative AI. At the same time, right, what we need to be clear is like it is all about generative. It is not about understanding. Of course, the model can be tuned to be able to understand what is being spoken, and that is where, like, I have mentioned as tuning has to be there. But the main focus of generative AI is about energy. It is not about energy. Okay. So we have seen one portion of our topic, which is basically the generative AI. Then the second portion of topic is about how it can change the chatbot world. Okay. So I'm staying away from removing, I mean, like, using the term chatbot, because, like, chatbot, so far the experience of chatbot has been more of uh, 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 small icon which is sitting in your website, and then whenever you ask a question, it gives you the standard answer. So that was not like, very interactive and then very engaging. So for you to have a good conversation, you need to understand the context of what the user is asking, and then, like, how do you respond to it in a smarter way. So that is where, like, we always call it as a conversational AI. So conversational AI is like, the goal is basically like it should use language as interface. It could be either voice or a text, and it should have a um, highly personalized customer experience. And it should have a very good understanding of what the user is asking and what is the context in which he is asking. And it should get some good operational efficiencies. So the operational efficiency could be like, as simple as like offloading 30% of customer calls to this the virtual assistant. So how do we develop that is entirely is what we call it a smart assistant, or the virtual assistant, and that is what we call it as conversational AI. So this is basically like what we have. Uh, what we can implement could be either a chatbot or it could be a virtual assistant, and we have a conversational platform. So this conversational platform helps you to implement a chatbot, which could be sitting in your website, or it could be a virtual assistant where it could be performing certain actions based on what is being asked and other things. So that's a brief about like what is conversational AI. So now we will see, like, we come to the the main topic of the day, which is basically like how do we change the chatbot experience with generative AI. So now we have a very good idea about what is generative AI, and then we also know what is conversational AI. Sorry. Now that I see like what are the challenges what you face when it comes to chatbots. Okay. Today, chatbot experience, like now, as I said, it is not very intuitive or like it's very engaging, mainly also because of the limitations on the technologies what we have today. So mostly today, the chatbots are used uh, by a set of Q&As or FAQs. So it tries to get the data, which is, or it tries to get a content which is available in your website or in whatever you have trained, and then it tries to give the response to the customer or the user. Uh, the problem is like, what you train as a data is limited. So the accuracy is also like very limited. And then the responses what you generate are mostly predefined content. Meaning like, if someone is asking like, if you have a bot where you have trained what is your payday, and then you have said like our payday is 10th of March. Okay. So then the responses is mostly limited to what you give us a response. Okay, if someone is saying like, can I get my pay by 5th of this month? The chatbot will still give like another payday is like 10th March. It doesn't give you an more engaging answer actually. Okay, so this makes your experience like more predictable, and people will over a period of time over uses the bot. They know what is the answer they are going to get, and then it becomes disengaging actually. And today's chatbots mostly they don't carry the context. So suppose like you ask a question, how is the for example, right? How much cost to buy this insurance? Okay, so it will give you a code saying that it is going to cost you 55,000, and you ask the next question: can you add my father to this insurance? It will not be able to answer you because like it doesn't have the context of you are talking about the previous code. Sorry, excuse me, sorry, a bad throat. Sorry. Yeah. Right. Okay. So this is where like the Gen AI and GPT comes into the picture. So first of all, the answers can be like a lot more pointed, and then accuracy is better. So when someone is asking like what, I mean, can I get paid by 5th of March? It will say no, you cannot. The payday is on the 10th. So there is a lot more uh, pointed answer, and then the accuracy is better. So the good thing is it is not that you are limited with the large language model, which is training the foundation model. On top of that large language model, you can still train a corpus of knowledge actually. This corpus of knowledge can help you to provide the responses. Then the training is from unlabeled and unstructured data. So free formatted data is very much easy. So I can go to a website and then I can say like, uh, you try this, and then you try this data, then you can be trained, and then you can start answering. So the third important point is the responses are generated. Okay, so it is no longer a standard response, which makes the users disengaging. This will be like based on what is the current context, and then it also understands the latest content, and using that, it tries to answer. So finally, the most important thing why the GenAI and GPT makes chatbot experience better is the context of the questions. So since you understand the context as a parameter as part of the entire training, your ability, I mean, like, the bot's ability to understand the context and then answer to it is like a lot more better actually. So it gives you an engaging experience to the customer. Having said this, it is not that plug and play, to be honest, actually. So there are some challenges. First is like, making the enterprise application, the chatbot ready for enterprise deployment. It needs a significant investment in infrastructure. Suppose like if you want to deploy a GenAI model in your premises, so the amount of GPU we need to train the data and then get the answers, it's going to be huge. Okay. And all your content should be available in some digital form. It could be a website, or it could be some CSV file, or it could be some PDF, but it should be available in digital form. Okay. And what is another important piece of advice what we would give is we should also know what we want to train and then what we want to leave out actually. While chat GPT, I mean, like, the GPT can be a lot more powerful. It can be also very biased depending on what kind of content we give. So we need to be extremely careful on the setting the boundaries, and then how do we do that? And finally, like, as it's an evolving field, there should be a constant upgrade to whatever is happening on the algorithm, the models, and the training, so that it remains competitive. Okay, but no worries. That is where, like, we have Parrot. So I'll quickly do an introduction to Parrot, and then I will also do a demo of how Parrot can help you with the generative AI and how an experience difference you can feel with generative AI. Okay. So what is Parrot? Parrot is Purple State's own platform. It's a low-code platform, and it's a framework which helps you to get a conversational assistant up in a few minutes or in few clicks. Okay. So what are the kind of data you have, whether it's a CSV file or like a website or like unstructured data? We can use that to scrap the content and then build the bot. We can make it available in multiple channels. So it could be like your web or mobile or Teams, or like, Slack. So everything is possible. So how does it work? So we have it's as simple as 3 steps. One is train your content. Second is like, sorry, you have to do any business integrations if at all you have to. Then you just, third step is like, deploy. So once you deploy it, you can use it everywhere. Like, it could be in Teams, it could be in Facebook Messenger, it could be in WhatsApp. So the limit is like, it's entirely depending on how many platforms you want to use. Otherwise, like, it is limitless. Yeah. So what is the key differentiator, like, from Parrot framework from the other frameworks? Like Parrot already has GPT capabilities included. Okay. It is flexible to train your own model on top of the LLM, what is already there. And we have LLM specific to some of the industries, and that is also part of our GenAI capabilities, so that it is possible to work with work in tandem with the OpenAI models. Okay. So we do have a escalation workflow for human agents. So in case, like, the bot is not able to answer, or they want to speak to some assistant, that is possible actually. And it is omni-channel, meaning like it is available in the web, or you can make it available in the Teams, Slack, telephony, or WhatsApp. Then as a local platform for content, user, and bot administration. Finally, like we are completely AI neutral, meaning like we can connect to any cloud platform or on premises. So I'll quickly run through a short demo of like how Parrot as a framework can help you to create a bot, and how different it is. I mean, from a traditional bot to generative AI bot. So before jumping there, okay. So this is the problem we are trying to solve with the bot today. So Furza is a company, and then this company has a lot of employees. So these are all the different personas. There are HR manager who gets a lot of questions from the employees, and they are not able to answer them on time. And worst is like, the answers what they give is like different for each and every HR person. That makes the employee like a lot more confused. Then there is a new employee. He's from Gen Z, and then he wants to know about the benefits. And there is a person who wants to complete all his learnings, and there is a project manager. He wants a new process to track the employee timesheets. And there is a person who wants to buy a house, an employee, and she wants to know how to get a payslip to get a housing loan. There's finally like there's a person who wants to change his laptop, and he wants to submit a service request. So all of them are related to, in a way, like related to the HR related work actually. So all of them needs answers, and there is only one person who can give an answer. So he is overloaded. So this is where like we are building a bot called Erica. Sorry. Erica helps you to train the frequently asked questions and then the answers. So what happens is like then the Erica to be available in the internet so that people can start using it actually. So this is how like a parent can help for the so I'll quickly show you how do you can get Erica ready in few minutes actually. Yeah. So first I'll give you a quick example of so there's a site. So we have created a place. I mean, like the information is kept in the content actually. So there is a lot of content created here. It has like some information about first means like force in Spanish. So and then it has the payroll tax reimbursement. So it has the payroll policy. It has the attendance policy. It has learning and evaluation policy. It has the benefits. So all those informations are here actually. Okay. The same information, we try to make it as more like a question and answer. And that is in a CSV file. So for example, the question is like, I incurred an expense related to work. How do we expense this out? So then you have an answer. So there is a list of questions. So what is Visara? What is who are our clients? And then there is How many leads do I get? Can I work from home? So these are all the questions like, you have curated to as a frequently asked question. Okay, I'll show you the two different approaches in which you can create a bot. The option one, I'm going to create a bot using this question and answer, which is a traditional bot. So as long as you ask a question, it will give you a predefined answer, which is from here. Then I'll also create a bot which is trained using this page actually, using GPT. Then you will see the difference between the two on how they can work and what difference they make. Okay, so this is our studio, Parrot Studio. This is where you create your bots. Okay, so let us create two bots. So I'll give the bot name as webinar. Okay, create a new one. Okay, done. Now I'll create one more with GPT. So I'll call it as webinar GPT. Okay. Let me start this first. So what I do, I start first. Okay, then I add content here. So I have added some content. So this content, since this is the webinar GPT, I'm just going to give the web URL. So what is the web URL? I'm going to give like course, or like it will give, yeah. So the web URL, I'm going to just give this web URL. So it is going to this content. Okay, so this is being trained and it is in pending. Let us go to the other bot, which we are creating webinar. And then here, I'm going to add FAQs. So how do I create an FAQ? I have a CSV. So I'm adding the CSV file here. Okay, it says 34 lines of upload completed. Let me just go and see the data. Everything looks good. It is all loaded. Publish. Okay, it says this how the title. I mean, like the different tiles which is going to come. Say yes. So these are all the topics what you see based on the different what I got this one. Okay, so I'll give this as Erika GPT. Okay, and then I'm okay. Okay, I'll do a theme setup. I'll go for dark mode. Okay, so this is not GPT. This is basically like basic. Okay, I do next. Okay. So let me launch. The bot is ready. I'm going to launch it. Okay. See, the moment I go in, actually, since I've already logged in as Magesh, it comes with the name Magesh. But these are all the topics it has actually. It has payroll and tax, attendance, benefits, all those things. So you want to go and see payroll and tax. I want to know about payday. So it say when do I get paid? And it gives you the answer it looks like someone cannot pay. Okay. Future we get paid in the last term. Okay. So now if I ask the same question here, okay, what is my pay? So the response what you get is the same because it is the same question what it is trying to match. So it looks like someone cannot pay for the first time. Okay. At Fusera, we get paid on the last working day of every month. Okay, so let me talk about the leave policy. Okay, how many days of leave I have? So it tries to get how many leaves I got. Every employee in Fusera is entitled to 15 days of casual leave, 15 days of vacation leave, 10 days of sick leave. Okay, and then it gives you an information where you can go and look for the information. All those details are there, and then it gives you the related answers. So these are all the capabilities of parent as such actually. So now I want to understand how many days of the available for cash flow. So here you see the answer is again pretty. It's pretty much the same answer what you get. So it says like my every employee in Fusera is entitled to 15 days of casual leave. So this is basically because it is a predefined answer. So nothing wrong in that. And probably this is the best way to respond when it comes to official communications. Suppose if you're part of a big bank or a big insurance company where the regulatory is a lot more serious, you would always want to respond with something which is in line with what is agreed as a predefined response. Okay. But what I want to tell you is this is how the traditional bots work. So there are other features which I want to quickly run through with you with Parrot. Uh, at any point of time, you can go back to home using this actually, and always a question and an answer will have an associated action and the related questions, so that the navigation could be a lot more easier. So normally whenever you are talking about how many days of leave I get, uh, you normally also will look at what is your attendance and leave system, what are the work from home policies. So we show those as related stuff actually. So now let us see whether the bot is ready, the GPT is ready. Let's go to the bot studio. Okay, it is still in process. Okay, very, very processed. Okay, so I'll probably wonder while it is getting processed, I'll probably show you this one actually. Sorry, One second. Okay, so now let's go to that. Okay, I will give this name as webinar GPT. Okay, now I publish it. So this is the GPT version of the bot, actually, the same bot. Okay. Here, there is no tiles or anything. He's ready for any questions. So let me ask the question. Okay, the same questions what I have asked there actually. How many days of leave we have? So let's see, like, how the generative AI answers. So employees in future are entitled to 15 days of cash value but to get 10 days of sick leave. Now I'll try to ask the question in a different way. So whenever I type, like, how many days of sick leave I can take, it gives you a pointed answer. You can take 10 days of sick leave per calendar year. Okay. So now I don't have to ask something. I mean, like, for example, I want to know when is my payday. Okay. So this will try to match because, like, the word salary was not there in the previous the bot without GPT. But here it will be able to understand that we are talking about the payday actually, and then it talks about like a salary will be credited on the last working date of every month. Okay. Let me ask one more probably a complicated question. Okay. Uh, so I can say, like, I'm not able to come to office regularly. What can I do? So it tries to fetch the answer. You have the flexibility to work from home these days and remote working, from looking. So the same one, I don't think the bot without GPT can answer. So let us just test that actually. So webinar bot is here. So I will launch it. I'll ask the same question. I cannot come to office and then work and what I can do. So see the answer. It is saying what is the best way to get to office. So this is where, like, the GPT makes a lot more intuitive experience to the customer when it comes to um, pointed answers and then the accuracy in terms of like how it can respond and other things. Okay. So this is a sample which I wanted to show you so that we all know what ChatGPT can help and then how GPT can help and how Parrot, the framework, can help you to roll out GPT in faster time in your organization. So yeah, so these are all the various options in which the smart virtual assistants can be rolled out. It can be just a virtual assistant, or it with Gen AI, or it is with human escalation, and it can be with other channels, and it can be integrated with your business application. Okay. So before, I want to add some more use cases, which is very specific to Gen AI. One is like smart assistants, which is what we have seen now. And there is a summarizer. The summarizer can be it can summarize a corpus of text actually to produce a concise output actually. It could be a chat history, email, technical documents, or blogs. So anything which is a large document can help you to summarize actually. And then there is the business automation where it can help you to augment the content for yourself. So these are all some of the use case themes actually. So an information assistant, that is exactly like what we have seen just now. FAQs, help topics, how-tos, and SOPs, for those things. Then guided help with application on the education and learning. See, this is very good for education and learning, because education is about how do you give a step-by-step instructions to the candidates, and how do you get the feedback, and then how do you guide them along actually. So as simple as like walking through that admission process. This can exactly tell you like what you have to do for step 1, step 2, step 3. So this is whenever there is a media rich content, ChatGPT helps in a bigger way. And then augment rich content. So this is like auto suggest, summarization, error correction. So for example, today, assume that you have agents and you want the agents to, who are supporting your customers through chat. So if you want the agents to respond in a consistent and then way, you can use chat GPT, or GPT, not just this, GPT to help you to augment the answer. And then the agent can just verify the answer and then they can submit it actually. So any human the associated contents, now it can be augmented by GPT. So in summary, definitely there's a significant uptick in a traditional chatbot experience. And then there is transcription, summarization, or some of the other significant opportunities. Bottom line, it definitely improves the operational efficiency and the user experience actually. Okay, but that is also a word of caution. See, like GPT is based on large language model. Okay, so the output will be purely based on the training data. Okay, if you give more biased data, the answers will be like more biased. It is difficult to attribute a response to a source of content because like it is coming from a large language model. You really don't know where the response has come from. So your ability to go and find the source of the information is going to be like very limited. Finally, it could be more appropriate to augment and improve the content for assisting humans. Okay. So before closing, we have flexible deployment option. It could be on premises or it could be hosted. And for you to have a success, these are all the critical factors. You should have enough content available, and you should have the infrastructure, SME time on the knowledge information. And suppose if you need business integration. So for example, if you are running a business if you are in the banking domain, and then you want to show the customer balance to a customer based on some authentication, then we should integrate with the business services. So those integrations, APIs, are needed. And then the integration with the enterprise identity and access management. If at all we need to integrate with the enterprise APIs. So this is typically like, how we do the entire journey. First, we do a prep work where we try to understand the scope, content, channels, everything. Then we try to look at the content model. We take the data and then we train it. And then once these two are done, then it is basically deployment actually in the set of the use agents. Then finally, if at all there's a business service integrations, we do that. And any branding or customization, we do that also. Okay. So that's all from me. So I mean, like, we are definitely looking forward. And then it is an opportunity today with generative AI to have a real smart assistant in your application. So, and then Purposelate is here to help you out. Okay. Thank you. And I open the floor for any questions.
Thank you, Mahesh. There are a few questions on the chat window. I'll just read it out for you. The first question is
Yeah.
about what language does your conversational AI understand?
Actually, there is no limit. We are mainly into English as of now as a language, but we can definitely train it in any language actually.
Okay, thank you. Uh, there's another question on what do you mean by 3D signals data? Please elaborate with some examples.
Okay, so this is basically for any information you get from um, the IoT devices or even from the other systems. So that is completely possible today. All those signaling data can be used, and then it can be help you to answer the questions actually.
Okay, thank you, Mahesh. And also, there's a question on how long does it take to train Parrot and Parrot GPT bots? Typical time period.
Sorry.
How long does it take to train Parrot or Parrot GPT bots? What is the typical time period?
See, as long as it is the static content which you are talking about without any integration, it is going to be like a lot more faster. It will depend on what kind of form the content is available, but typically it is less than uh, 4 weeks actually, 2 to 4 weeks.
Thank you. And another question is on where can we deploy the content models?
So these content models, right? They are deployed as part of. Suppose if we are talking about hosted solution, wherein purpose-state host the using the SaaS model, then the content is hosted as part of the bot actually. So it is within our infrastructure. But if it is, for example, you want to have this deployed in your premises, on premises, then we need to have some machines with GPU and it can be deployed there.
Thank you, Mahesh. Those were the questions. We don't have any other questions. Okay, thank you all. If any of you have any other questions, please post it on the chat window or feel free to reach us at hello@purpleslate.com as well. We'll be happy to help you with any of your queries. If you want to work on any POCs or any other demos, we'll be happy to do that for you.
Thank you all for participating.
Thank you. Thank you all.